Hello folks, welcome back to part 9 of the ARTF Wot4 build. Today I'm going to describe how to fit the two-stroke engine into this model onto these two plastic bearers that came supplied with the kit. They're basically just screwed onto the firewall with the two screws at the top and the two screws at the bottom that you can just see there. Just let me pan out. You can see that the model is in fact sideways on in that cradle. That's purely because the engine is mounted at 90 degrees sideways on, and it just makes it a little easier to hold everything in position while you drill it, etc. So just let me show you the equipment that we're going to be using to do this. First of all, that's the trusty 53 Irvine that we're going to fit, a really nice two-stroke engine that's great for this type of sports model. A little clamp there that's just going to hold the engine in position while I'm filming this. It won't actually hold it in position while we spot through. Selection of drills, small, medium and large. The larger one being the same diameter as the hole in the lug of the engine. A couple of steel rolls, a pencil. This is the hardware pack that came with the kit, a few nuts and bolts to hold your engine in, and also the control cable that controls your throttle, and electric pistol drill for when you come to drill the holes. First thing I do, as you can see, I've already drilled these holes, but for easiness sake I'll just describe how to do it. First thing I do is to put masking tape on top of the bearers. This is purely as a visual aid for myself. When we come to spot the 4 holes through, you can actually see where they come through onto the plastic. With this being dark black plastic, it's sometimes a bit hard to pick up the position, like the centres of the holes. First thing you do is to get your two-stroke, get your engine and drop it into the engine bearers. The first thing you'll notice is it's quite a sloppy fit, as you can see. You can get quite a lot of movement left to right there. When you fit the motor to the bearers and screw it in, obviously you want the engine as straight as possible to those bearers. You don't want any side thrust being incurred. You want it absolutely bang on with the centre line. That is very important. The other important thing to note is there's a dimension of 100mm from the back face of the prop driver there, I'm just showing you with my thumb, to the firewall. And that's purely so you can get the engine in the correct position for when you drop the cowl on, then this prop driver then protrudes through the front of the cowl so your spinner doesn't catch the front. Like I say, that's quite an important figure. If anything, you want to be slightly this way, slightly forwards, but certainly not less, because you don't want that prop driver underneath your cowl or you could be in trouble. So, okay then. We align the motor up visually and look at either side of the motor, looking at the gap of the lug to the side of the bearer to get that equal. That's quite important because you will notice that these holes on the lugs are very close to the edge of the bearer. If you don't get it central, you're going to have some holes wandering off into fresh air. So that's the first thing I do. The next thing to do is to check that dimension of 100mm to make sure you're in the correct place. The easiest way to do this, if I can just drop that clamp on to show you, and just bear with me, just let me drop a clamp on to hold the engine in place. The easiest thing to do, you'll notice when you come to measure this, everything gets in the way, the engine bearers, everything, so makes it a bit tricky to measure that 100mm. So what I do, a little trick, is to use a little straight edge or a rule like this. If I can just get it in position, if you put a straight edge across there, then you can quite easily measure from the bulkhead back to get your 100mm. The same the other side. Get you see 100mm, so quite easily. This also shows and proves that your engine is in square at 90 degrees to the firewall. So once you've got it in that position, the next thing to do really is, with your pencil, just scribe the position of the lugs on both sides. Right, once you've done that, you can then spot a hole through onto your bearer. So if you use the biggest drill, the same size of the lug, put it in, just do this by hand, not a problem, spin it round by hand, that will transfer that hole into the bottom. Now the easiest way of doing this is obviously mark the first one, then remove the engine. You'll, like I said before, you'll notice these holes are very close to the edge, so the best way of picking up that centre is to use your smaller drill and drill that first. So with your pistol drill, keeping it nice and straight, you don't want to be going in at an angle like this and coming out the side, so keep it nice and straight and bang on that centre. Drill your small one first, then your next size up, drill your next size up, and then finally the finished size, which was the one that you spotted through, straight through. Then what I find the best thing to do, and the easiest way, is to drop your engine back in and then actually drop a bolt through that hole that you've just drilled, which I'll try and do. A bit awkward with a few hands, but I'll just drop a bolt in there. That just holds it and stops the motor from shifting about while you spot the other holes. Now what I would do then is go back to the other side, mark off the one that's diagonally opposite, do exactly the same again, remove the motor, drill your holes with a series of drills just to keep it nice and straight, and that's how you go. Once you've done that, pop a bolt in, that will really secure the engine nicely, and then you can spot off the other holes either side. And that's it, job done. I did notice with the kit that the hole that went through the bulkhead here for your engine, your throttle, was a bit too small, so I've just popped a drill through there to clear that, just to make it a nice and easy fit. We'll just pop that in, something like that. Oh, might go in. That's it. We just feed that back. That is now in position. Now obviously when you put your motor in first, you have to fish that through, which I can't really see what I'm doing. Fish that through onto your carburetor first and then drop your engine in. Okay folks, that's about it. So the next video you'll see this engine installed.